Welcome to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, where we talk all things good food, good business, and good cars. And now, here is your host, Arnold Garcia, founder and CEO of Petra Automotive Products. Let's roll.
All right, we are in Dallas, Texas, so far away from Houston, in a great restaurant called Meseros, which means waiter. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it means waiter.
There you go.
Meseros means waiter. So first, it was funny because on the way over here, I'm looking at the menu. I'm not looking at the menu. I'm looking at the directions, and I'm saying it in English. I'm not even thinking in Spanish.
Right.
And I'm telling the Uber driver, have you ever been here? And, blah, blah, blah. And then he says the name, and I'm like, wait a minute. Meseros. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's waiter.
It's waiter.
So anyway, we're in Dallas at Meseros with Amberly Allen.
Yes, sir.
Which is a dynamite, successful woman in the automotive industry with an incredible story, not only business, but personally. She is the CEO of Dealer Merchant Services.
Yes, sir.
The founder.
Yes, sir.
Of Dealer Merchant Services. You've been around now for how long?
Well, I've been around the car business since I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
So just a couple of years.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, you don't have to give. But your
No,
dealer,
22 years in the car business.
Dealer Merchant Service has 1,000 dealers,
We have 1,000 stores, yes.
and you've saved collectively dealers $60 million.
That's correct.
So not
Today.
So-
And you can look on our website and
It's got a counter?
Yes.
It's like the dead?
Yep.
It's like a counter ticket all the time?
That's
That's
right.
great.
It is.
That's a great idea.
It's cool.
That's a great idea.
It's cool. We set out to save the dealer body $50 million a couple of years ago, and we've exceeded that. So here we are.
How long has Dealer Merchant Service been around?
I started the company in February of 2020, a month before COVID hit.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had already burned the boats, and I knew I couldn't travel.
COVID was coming.
I did not know. No, I did not. Nobody did. But I started talking about this idea about helping dealers pass along these fees, but making sure that we could do it within compliance and legal and all these things. But I couldn't get on a plane and pitch it to anyone, so I just really focused on the Dallas-Fort Worth area and found a group that gave me a yes. And they're still our client today.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Can we say who the group is?
Maybe. I mean,
It's up to you.
we can, if we can edit it. If they don't, if
okay.
I just would want to get their permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay, we'll leave it like that.
yeah,
We'll leave it like that.
but
So your first dealer is still your customer.
yes,
That says a lot.
thank you.
Do you know that I've been in this business for 34 years? Obviously, slightly older than you. And my first 3 customers are still my customers.
That's amazing. Your first 3 are still.
And one of them, my first customer, it's second generation. His dad, who was my customer, passed away. The son is now over the business and still buys from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Special, right?
I hope that, I know I get to tell you my story, but I hope that you'll tell me more about your origin story in the car business as well.
Thanks. I'm from Cuba and there's a raft involved.
Yes.
I'm kidding. There's no raft, and I say that all the time. It is Cuba, but I left on an airplane, but people ask all the time, and there's my inner circle, which you will become part of, has a standing joke. Like, we're at a party, and they'll say, hey, Arnold, tell them how you got here from Cuba. And I give this whole dramatic raft story, how we were thrown in the ocean, and people are, like, freaking out. Right? And then at the end, I go, I'm kidding. We just got on a plane.
I love that.
That's my dramatic story.
I love that.
All right. Where were you born?
So I was born and raised in Dallas. I went to high school here. I went to an all-girls Catholic high school here in Dallas. And then I graduated from Ole Miss.
Are you still
Hotty
Catholic?
totty. I'm still Catholic. Yes, my kids are.
What do you think about the Pope?
I don't have any comments on the Pope right now.
You just threw that in or something.
I did. My kids are baptized Catholic, but born and raised in Dallas, Catholic all-girls high school, and then went to Ole Miss for college. Hotty toddy for any of those SEC fans out there.
What did you study in Ole Miss?
I was a business major, so marketing and production operations management.
So you actually didn't party that much?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
You were able to do both.
I was able to do both. Yes. I always thought I was going to go work for my dad. I'm a third generation entrepreneur, and I always thought that I would work for him. I realized as I got older, we were
did your dad
better. So my dad has a manufacturing company here in Dallas, and he manufactures a slate roofing product and cast stone. So columns and fireplaces and balustrades, things that you see on the houses. He's a cast stone manufacturer here in Dallas. And I thought for sure I would go work for the family business. And I realized that we were better friends than coworkers. And so I'm glad that I did.
I think my daughter realized that about me. As much as I try to get her in the business, she is no.
No.
She's like, no.
I love to be in business. He's my biggest fan. We talk about business more than we talk about anything when we're together. Just ideas and things that we can talk about. But he likes to see it from his purview. Yeah.
Sure.
And
We all have that point of view, right?
Yes,
we all
that's
have
right.
that angle.
That's right.
Okay,
And,
so born in Dallas.
yep.
I mean, raised here. Other than going to Ole Miss for 4 years or whatever, always Dallas girl.
So after I graduated from Ole Miss, I moved to Houston. I worked for the Gala Winery. So I got a job working for the Gala Winery, and I told them I wanted to get back to Texas, and Houston was as close as they could get me. So I moved to Houston. I was there for 12 years, and I worked for the Gala Winery for a year and a half, and then I met someone that sold car dealers direct mail. And so my first opportunity in the car business was selling car dealers direct mail.
No kidding.
Yes. And so
Out of Houston.
Out of Houston. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'm sure you know who it is.
Yeah. So out and they have created a lot of great people. Too.
They have. Yes.
They have a good starting point.
That's right.
So you go from college to Houston.
Yes.
First job out of college.
First job is working for the Gala Winery. So I
For
sold
12 years.
Well, no. So for just a year and a half, I sold beer and wine to grocery stores and liquor stores for glaziers, but I was hired by the Gala Winery. So
So you only did that for 1 year and a half.
A year and a
then
half.
You went to work for the dealership.
and then I went to work for
Right.
the direct mail company.
I stayed with them for.
Well, I was with one for a year and another for a year, and then I went out on my own. Yeah, and so I started GI
You
marketing.
always had that bug.
I always had
your-
that bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So
you're like, I'm not gonna. A year's good.
yeah, a year was good. I wanted to do it myself, and so I started DI marketing in 2005, and I don't know, we've sold $40+ million worth of marketing to dealers since, and
So is
now
that
it's
company
mostly
still
digital.
around?
It is still around.
Based out of Dallas.
Based out of Dallas, yeah.
Okay.
It's much smaller now because I took a little time off. I came back to Dallas. I had a couple of babies, and then I had a brain tumor. And so 6.5 years ago, they found a golf ball sized tumor in my brain, in my temporal lobe, and it had to be removed right away. And of course, I tell car dealers they're the ones that it had been slow growing for 10 or 15 years. And I said it was because of all these car dealers. Anyway,
Slightly high pressure.
it is a high pressure situation, right? Needless to say, I am happier and healthier than I've ever been, but it was quite a journey after
Okay. Yeah. So wait. So slow down.
that. Yes.
Okay. Born and raised in Dallas.
Yep.
Ole Miss.
Yep.
First job, the wineries. Sell beer and wine for a year and a half. Then you start selling marketing to dealers.
Yes.
You do a year in one company, a year in another, open your own.
Yes.
That company's still up and running.
It is.
And that is how you got back to Dallas.
That's how I got back to Dallas. That's right.
Now, you were in Houston when you started that company.
I was. Yes.
So was the company based in Houston for a while?
It was. It was based. So I lived in Houston for 12 years, and it was based there for a good majority of my time there, right? And then I moved back to Dallas. I wanted to take a little break. My family's here, so I wanted to get closer to home.
You know that Dallas and Houston have that.
That thing. That,
You know,
Yeah,
right?
they're rivals.
Yeah, it's
I
like-
love Houston and Dallas, though. It
Well, you're
feels
going to
like
say that because we're selling to dealers.
no. I'm going to say because I had such a great experience out of college. Granted, I think it was because I also sold beer and wine, so I didn't struggle making friends.
Right.
And I thought the people in Houston are just lovely, right? I mean, I didn't live there. They didn't mind that I was from Dallas. At least they didn't tell me that they minded. And
I think it's grown throughout the years.
it has.
I think as years pass, there's this Houston and Dallas thing, you know?
Yeah. I think Houston people are more open to Dallas transplants than the other way around.
I think so.
So I guess I got
do.
lucky in that
I do.
regard.
You know, my son lived up here for 4 years.
Okay. I didn't know that.
After college, he too came up here and, you know, he was doing the opposite.
Yeah. Right? Trying to get away.
And was very successful in it too. Then he got married and was going to get pregnant and move back down to Houston because family's important, right?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah,
It
we
is
all
for
find
me.
that out sooner or later.
We do. Sometimes it just takes longer.
Right.
You know?
For sure. Okay, so you moved back to Dallas.
Yeah.
Did your stint in Houston. The Dallas people are probably very happy that you came back.
Well, yes. My brothers and my parents. I'm one of four. I have three brothers, so I'm one of four. I'm the only girl.
And you're the only girl.
Yes.
For sure.
For sure gets me prepared for the car business.
And they want you to come. And they want you to come back.
Yeah.
So you're in this marketing company that you own.
Yes.
That you're being successful at. That you have in Houston, and you move to Dallas, and that's when you find out that you had a tumor.
Yeah, so I'm back in Dallas.
Okay.
I get married, have my son, And then I have a little girl and another baby 18 months later. So it's, chaos. Here we go. Well, the second was a surprise, but it doesn't matter, right? And so then she was 2 years old when I found the brain tumor. So fast forward till my son was 3.5 and she was 2.
How'd you find out?
So it turns out that I was having seizures. And so the tumor was on the right side of my brain, and it was the size of a golf ball, and it was pushing into the left side of my brain, okay? And so I would have this rushing feeling up the left side of my body and back down again, and my hand would go numb, my eye would twitch, and I thought, that's so odd, right? So I asked my doctor, and she said it could be anything. It could be an acute migraine, it could be a pinched nerve, but I would get it checked. So that very night, she sent me a referral to a neurologist, and that very night at 2 a.m., I had a 7.5-minute grand mal seizure. And that led me to the emergency room.
What is that?
So a grand mal seizure is a seizure where you're completely incapacitated, like you see in the movies. And so 7.5 minutes, I'm completely out. The paramedics come to my house, and they take me to the emergency room.
Do you mind, and you don't have to answer this,
ask
do you
me.
mind me asking how old you were?
So it's 38.
So 38.
Yes,
I mean,
young.
nobody expects that.
No, of course not, right? No, of course not. And they also didn't expect that it had been slow growing. And frankly, I just got very lucky as to where it was in my temporal lobe because, so they said we found a large mass in your brain and it has to come out right away. And so I was in ICU, and then they did 5.5-hour surgery and they got it all out.
So that night that you had that seizure, that the ambulance came.
So they had to get me calm, my body calmed down, but about
You didn't leave
60
the hospital.
I never left I never left to go home. It was
I mean, before surgery.
before surgery. Yeah, I said, "Can I go home?" And they were like, "No, wait, you're not going anywhere." So they had me. That happened at about 2 a.m. Monday night, and they did surgery Saturday morning at about 5 a.m. So I was there for 5 days before they did surgery.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when they say those words, what's going through your head? As a 30-year-old who has 2 brand new kids.
What goes through your head is that you will do whatever it takes to make sure you come out. That's all there is to it. You got a 2-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. I mean, you have no choice.
There's no plan B.
There's no plan B.
I mean, it's so important. I tell people that all the time. Anywhere you stop me, I see that you're tearing up.
No. It's okay. It's real life.
But I could only imagine, right? And we all say things like that. When you hear people who get some kind of diagnosis, you go, man, I can only imagine. And it is literally that, right? Because you're not that person.
Right.
And I tell people that I kind of hate that almost.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going through that person's mind.
Right.
But I know that when the doctor tells me, hey, we got to get some blood work for whatever,
Yeah.
your mind races
Sure.
without ever knowing any bad news.
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
like, oh my God, I got to get, what is this, Or you're looking up, some kind of symptom on Google and it gives you the list of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Then it could be bad. Don't do it. I know. Everybody says don't do it, but everybody does it. So you actually get the notice.
Yes. Sure.
It's got to be like, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that what everything that matters really matters?
That's when my life changed for the better. Although that's incredibly terrifying news. I think when you have to sign a waiver that says you may never walk again or talk again or kiss your kids again, being on the other side of it, I can tell you that there are tough days, but I still get to kiss my kids every day. And so people say that, but when you actually experience it firsthand, it does change. It changes your life forever. And I am forever changed for that.
What do you think? Give me a couple of things that changed from that moment on.
Well, I'll tell you, health is wealth. So I'll tell you that's one thing where, knowing that you will be okay and you want to take care of yourself, because when I came out of surgery, half my head is shaved. The person you see today I was a shell of that person 6 years ago, right? I was on all kinds of medication, so I was not very quick with my words. It took me, granted I was lucky I could walk again and talk again and things like that. I didn't have to relearn those things, but life looked very different after that. I had to figure out what I wanted my next 40 years to look like, and I wasn't gonna squander it. I mean, I've got clarity on that, and I think anybody that works for me knows that too. And the people that I surround myself with, we as a society say yes to everything. And it was right around Christmas, and I realized I said yes to all these things I don't really want to do. Even if I felt good, I didn't really want to do them, right? So I think you got to say no to things to create a vacuum in your life for what you really want and not just what people expect of you.
There's people in my office right now that are going to go, Arnold,
I don't want to do that.
say no.
But
They tell me.
to say no.
Say no.
Yes.
Say no. Well, there's a phrase that they use in the office. It's just say no to, how it's just say no to drugs? Yeah, like, just say no.
Just say
Just say no. And I love that you said that because it's true.
It's true.
Sometimes we do things we don't want to do.
Sometimes, yep. And sometimes you have to do the things you don't want to do to get you where. Now that is definitely the case in business, right? You don't always want to get up after you've been knocked down. But I will tell you that it also, you asked me 3 things. One, health is wealth. That's for sure a huge component of it, right?
Is it like eating better or just the knowledge of that health is area?
Health is everything. I will also tell you I'm a huge proponent of meditation. If you ask me one thing that I do every single day, sometimes more than once a day after I've gotten kicked around a little bit, but
Like close the door and you...
yes. Meditation is my number one anchor for my mental health. And if I could tell anybody, if they're going through anything difficult, you got to kind of dig deep and figure out how to get centered and get quiet and remember who you really are. And then you can forge forward.
Walk me through that.
Okay. All right. So I have a small little space underneath my stairs where they're built out. So I've created a small, what I call my meditation nook. I've got all my kids' sweet notes to me and pictures and things that make me feel loved and inspired. But it's really about knowing what you want your future you to look like and pacing towards that and not towards anything backwards, right? And even in the day-to-day, you've got to go, why am I doing this, right?
So is it like a self-reflection? Is it a prayer? Is it both?
It's different every day. It's really more about getting, so sometimes it's a journaling that leads into a meditation. Sometimes it's the opposite, a meditation that leans into, you've got some ideas that you need to get on paper. Sometimes it's just about not being discouraged and knowing that you have a bigger purpose and a bigger calling and that you just need to dust yourself off a little bit, right?
Are you talking to yourself out loud or is it all internal?
Sometimes you have to say some of those mantras out loud to yourself. And I even go so far as to have a mantra recorded in my own voice of kind of the top 50 kind of mantras that I try to believe for myself. And I listen to that every morning at least, right? It's about 2 minutes, and I figure if I just do anything today, that'll be my anchor. And some of you have more time and some of you have less time. It's not about being perfect and it's not about being right. It's about going, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Who am I really? And it's not about, everybody's a little different. Some are more religious, some are more spiritual. To me, very much, I'm a child of the Most High God, right? What am I trying to do here? And so I think you kind of get pulled instead of dragged, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so 3 things. Okay, so one was health.
Health
was
as well,
everything.
yes.
Meditation was the other one.
Well, then that's part of my anchor within my health for sure.
Okay.
I like to do different things, but I'm not, someone that's, 3 hours in the gym every morning at 4 a.m. I am.
Well, you can tell that I'm not that guy. The only time I'm at a gym is I got a phone call or a conference call. I'm in the parking lot.
Right. So health is wealth, and I think saying no to things is big. I really do. But also having a huge vision for your life.
We should put a caption that says just say no.
Just say no.
Just say no.
Say no to the things you don't really want to do. Because then if you say no to the things without cursing, it's either a hell no, hell yes, or it's a hell no.
Yeah.
It's either a hell yes or a hell no. That's it, right? It can't. If there's anything in between, then you're not really sure.
It's tough.
There's doubt, yeah. So until you're sure, don't take a forward step.
That's right. I love it. All right, anything else that you want to tell us that happened at that moment that changed you?
So I had about 2 hours of stamina at a time. Again, the woman you see in front of you I had to be rebuilt. That's all there is to it, right? I had to decide, what I wanted my next 40 years to look like, who I wanted to be surrounded by, the things I had to say no to so I could say yes to the things I really wanted to do. And I think from there, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because I don't take it lightly, being able to sit here with you.
Oh, that's nice. I don't take it lightly being sitting here next to you.
Thank you.
What's such an incredible story. Okay, so they come in, they tell you have a tumor, you're not going anywhere.
Yes.
Do they know at that time that it's not cancerous or is cancerous? Or?
Good question. So they anticipated that it was a benign tumor. It's called a meningioma. And they anticipated it was benign, but they couldn't be sure until they were actually in surgery.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so thankfully it was a benign tumor, but it was really starting to get what they called angry, meaning it was because it didn't have anywhere else to go. It was growing, right? It was growing, but it didn't have anywhere else to go. And so that's where the seizure came in, where I was out for 7.5 minutes. And frankly, Arnold, I don't even mind showing your listeners how big it was, right? I can show you a picture because it's shocking to see how large the mass was. And so it all had to come out. Like I said, they shaved half my head and did 5.5 hours of surgery. But I'm here to tell about it. And I don't.
So you get out of surgery.
Yes.
And there is I guess, like physical therapy process?
So I could walk and talk, but I was on all sorts of medications to where I was not really very fluid with my ability to communicate. I was struggling with any kind of stamina, right? And I have a 2-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, right? And I was married at the time.
Who want to be with you?
Of course, they're used to me being their jungle gym, right? But they were also my biggest motivator. Is okay, I got to get healthy and I got to do it fast. And so I did.
How long of therapy or how long of just time from the time you had surgery to the time you felt 100% back?
January 1st was right around 90-ish days. And of course, I'm a highly motivated, driven individual. And so I thought for sure January 1st, I'm going to be back at it. So I had a bit of a false start, frankly. And I think we all have had some of those in life. But that false start didn't knock me down long enough, right? I just said, okay, I just need to regroup a little bit before I get some momentum. And so I would tell you I was every bit of a full year before I was at 100%. And I wouldn't even say I'm ever at 100. I always feel like I can do better, right?
Yeah.
Be a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's normal.
But health-wise and mental, sure.
You're probably at 100% based on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have, they anticipate that there might always have some growth, but the cool thing with technology is if it ever comes back in any great size, they can zap it with a laser, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
But we're here on a golf course, looking over this gorgeous golf course, so any of your listeners, if they ever play golf, they can think of me. That's how big it was.
Yeah, no, good analogy.
Yeah.
So is there anything, listen, thank God,
Period.
that you survived and you're great and you thrive.
Yes.
Is there something you used to do that you don't do now?
I used to stay up late, and now I'm a sleeper. I tell you what, I like to go to bed early. I like to get my rest.
Okay.
I feel like I'm.
But they say that's good for health too.
Of course, right? But I used to like to. I went to Ole Miss for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 3 brothers. We like to stay up late and have a good time. But I do like to get my sleep these days. I feel like a high performance
Just because my
individual.
middle son went to Ole Miss, what was your dorm?
It was Martin when I was a freshman, and then I got a little place with some friends off campus.
That's
the trouble.
That was the beginning.
Then you can't get back to campus. It's one thing.
That was the beginning.
I know.
remember I
right?
wanted to first see it. I'm like, this is a resort.
Yeah,
This is not.
and lots of beautiful women in Ole Miss.
And lots of beautiful
Yes.
women, and we used to make fun about that too. And
Yeah,
yeah,
can be quite a distraction.
I'm not gonna throw them under the bus, but
No.
but yeah, it was anyway, it was a resort for sure.
Yes.
All right, so you get through that. You're still in the marketing business.
I am. Yes.
Okay. And then
Direct mail had changed, so I really went and started talking to before my surgery, I had taken a little time away from marketing and got my Texas real estate license, and I just wanted to
Like
dabble in
all good Texans.
right, like dabble in something different, right? And it served me. I love to know about Texas real estate, but I realized that was not the place for me. I wanted to go back and have my own gig. I wanted to work with dealers again. Look, there's no question that you either like this fast pace living or you don't. And I loved it, and I missed it. I missed having my own gig, and I missed working with dealers. So I got back on the road and talked to every dealer I had any relationship with and said, can I just sit with you and then ask them what's working, what's not working, right? I knew direct mail wasn't the ideal circumstance at the time, so I started doing digital. And so I started selling digital, and then I started learning about.
Is it all predominantly digital now?
It's all predominantly digital now. Yeah.
And it's also like it's less expensive, right?
It's less expensive.
Yeah.
Direct mail there was just a time where we were doing, millions of dollars in direct mail every year, just in my
Paper
smaller
stamps,
boutique.
you know?
Yep. We take good care of our postal workers, though, at my house. They always get a Christmas present.
That's good.
They do.
And so should the trash guys.
And so, well, of course, they should too, of course.
When did you decide to open dealer management services?
So with Dealer Merchant Services, we started to learn about this term cash discount. And cash discount.
You started to learn that and your other business?
And well, I'm still selling marketing,
Yeah.
right? But dealers are hearing about this term cash discount. And so basically I started asking them, well, would you ever really pass along your credit card fees to your customers? And I am lucky enough to, in the 22 years I've been working with dealers, I could pick up the phone and ask a dealer their real honest opinion on something. And they would tell me, they would give me a few minutes to let me bend their ear. And so I would ask, I could go through the dealers in my head too. I won't name them, but I think very fondly of these guys that just would say, I like the idea of saving money, but not to the detriment of my customers or my accounting department or any legal issues. And so we kind of had to go back to the drawing board and create a space for it. Because before we started Dealer Merchant Services, dealers were not, in general, passing along their credit card fees. They were not surcharging. And so, but the more dealers I talked to, well, I want to save the money. Can you figure out this component? And so, for example, we have a training program that we call Dealer Merchant Services University. That's where we've trained and certified 16,000 dealership employees across the country. That's simply to help them understand the compliance and the legal and the word track, right? And that was a place for them to learn how to communicate it the right way to their customers. And then with Laura's help, Laura and I, she started working with me about 6 months after I started the business, so very early on. And she said, and I started posting on LinkedIn about this idea that I had. And
How did you meet her?
well, so her and I met in the marketing world.
Okay.
So when I was selling direct mail to dealers, she had her digital marketing company that she was working with. And so when we had a dealer that wanted her services, we would collaborate and vice versa. And so we were always in and around the same space, but never working directly with one another like we do today. I have great love for her, and I'm very fond of who she is and her work ethic and
She's great.
and what she's done for our business.
I want to say I taught her everything that she knows.
Yeah, it was all because of you. She speaks very highly of you, so
I do
there's
too of
definitely
her.
some components there. So we started working together about 6 months after I started the business, and she gave me the perspective of a controller's eye, right? And so everything we built on the reporting and the back end side and the technology side is based on her being a former controller. And so we have dealers, they say if the controller's not happy, nobody's happy. And most dealers say that's not very funny. It's absolutely true.
No, it's true.
It's true.
I think it's true in any business. If your controller's mad, it's
It's hard.
hard for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Especially the owner.
especially they're counting all your dollars and cents. And so Laura helps create all the back end for that. And I had just signed a 12-store group, and she helped me launch all of those stores. And as they say, the rest is history. 2020, February 2020,
A month before COVID.
a month before COVID.
Well done. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think that adds, even a little bit more of award-winning, pizzazz, incredible story to the fact that you started it. I started mine in the crisis, 2010.
Oh, yeah. So,
Right. So, but you started in 2020, which is a whole different other crisis, right?
Of course.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Maybe crazy, right? Maybe.
But it takes a little craziness to be entrepreneurial.
It does. It does.
Right? When everybody else says that's kind of, and you're like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, all chips in.
Yeah.
So I ran DI marketing and dealer merchant services for about 2 years without taking any income out of dealer merchant services because DI gratefully was helping me feed my family while Laura really helped us create the processes and the structure around dealer merchant services. So as that grew, we could continue to devote more time and resources to dealer merchant services. And so for every bit of the first 2 years, it was juggling both companies. And I'm grateful that Dealer Merchant Services today, we have 35 employees, 1,000 dealers, and on our way to 2,500 as far as I'm concerned.
Of course.
And
We're not stopping.
no, gosh, no.
Yeah.
No, it's the business of my dreams.
Get back in the meditation room and focus.
That's right. How do we get to 2,500? That's exactly right. So it's the business of my dreams, getting to work with dealers and be able to build a team and have these incredible people believe in my vision is amazing.
This may sound bad because I don't want it to come across bad because it doesn't matter. I'm big on, look, I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're Latin, Caucasian, African American, tall, fat, skinny, short, bald, hair. In my opinion, it all boils down to work ethics.
100%.
Okay?
And you can't teach drive.
And you can't teach drive.
No.
You cannot teach that you got to go out there and hustle every day to earn your pay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't teach it. You
can't.
try.
You try.
We all try.
You would hope.
But people sometimes just don't get it. So I'm not asking this in a bad way. I'm asking this because I think well, let me ask you this. Let me put it this way. As a woman, as you started in this industry, what was the hardest thing to overcome?
This may not be the answer you're expecting, but I think for me, it was actually at home. There were specific gender roles expectations. And after I had kids, I thought for sure I would just land in that stay-at-home traditional gender role. And I have so much respect for women that stay home with their kids. I just had a desire to get out and build something. And that was really more of a struggle than anything. And I am a single mom today. I'm divorced. I have a wonderful relationship with their dad, but we just didn't agree on those gender roles. And I think that that's the interesting thing. And this is me
So
being...
the challenge was really personal.
The challenge was personal.
More than business.
It was. Because I had full faith in my ability to get it done, but those people around me in my personal life, you have a great marketing company. Why are you risking this? Why would you even, you don't know anything about credit card processing. Why
get ahead more?
Why would you do that? You should chill. You had brain surgery. You're here. You have this great marketing company, and all of those things were true, and I still couldn't help it. I just had a desire that, in some moments, I say that it led me. Some it's dragged me too, right? Because.
But I think mainly led you because I think everybody is different, right? We get into these roles. I think that's what you said is perfect. That even I think happens at a certain point. Even successful men, the people say, "Why do you want to do something else?"
Right.
If you're already
Like
here,
you just retire.
Yeah.
Right. Play
like,
golf.
I tell people, I'm gonna die working.
Same.
Like
if I'm not the crazy old lady in the corner all
drag
day.
me out. I'm not. I don't have any plans to retire.
No.
This is my passion.
Yeah.
I love what I do.
Yes.
So, I think even today, people in a non-gender situation go, why?
Right.
Why?
Why?
Go to the beach.
Yeah.
Go sit in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
No.
That's not the point. We'll vacation there for a week or two.
Sure.
But that's not our life.
No. No, I would go crazy on a beach if I sat there for too long.
Yeah.
I really would. I want to create something, and Dealer Merchant Services is just one of those that I've always dreamed of having a business like this.
I mean, you guys are hot.
I mean, we see you everywhere.
Thank you. We're trying.
I mean, we see you
we
everywhere.
try to be
Everybody,
everywhere.
every turn you look,
Yeah.
you know, there it is, you know.
Well, I feel really blessed. Apparently, ChatGPT has acknowledged that we are the leader in the space, which is kind of cool. We were in
That's
our,
pretty neat.
I know, right? We were in our leadership meeting, and we asked ChatGPT how many auto dealerships are surcharging, and it brought up our information that we were the leaders in the space. That's just
great.
cool, yeah. But I also had someone recently tell me that we allowed dealers the space to do that, right, without it disrupting their CSI, and really
Well, you
hearing.
held their hand.
And we still do. Lots of hand holding.
And a lot of dealers need handhold.
And that's okay.
These are type A, like us, let's go personalities, and they need people behind them
Yeah.
that help them get there.
But more importantly, right, we've found that our sweet spot are these 2 to 25, 30, 40 rooftops. And what happens is that for them to be able to take on an initiative like, for them to be able to take on an initiative like this, they have to have somebody full-time, understand the legal, understand the compliance, do the training, work with IT, work with accounting, all these things. We come in like a little army and just handle it, right? And then it's handled.
It's over.
It's
process.
And our accounting team is comprised of former controllers. So when they call our support team, our team knows what they're talking about, right? They know we run at the speed of business. We help them from a support
headquarters
perspective.
here?
It's here.
Okay.
Yeah. Now of our 35 people today, half of them are DFW based, and the rest are around the country.
Okay.
Yeah. So we really are a very remote environment.
Okay.
Yeah. And that hand holding, that white glove that you're talking about, I think it was what they needed to be able to feel confident in moving forward, because even our first dealer group, he would call me, he still can call me, and he knows I'll answer the phone, right? He knows that if he has a problem, we will handle it and we'll do it quickly. That's right.
That's what most of these guys want to know, that
Yeah.
you're going to be there backing them up.
And it's interesting because Laura and I were not naive that if we really do what we say we're going to do, we're going to catch some lightning in a bottle here, right? Well, then we're going to have some copycats. And so we're seeing some of that as well, right? People thinking that this is just something you just flip on a surcharge and start charging your customers and everything will be okay. And we've unwound a lot of programs because that's not the case.
So people starting today, what is the advice that you give somebody starting today, female or not?
Yeah.
Somebody wants to go out there and conquer the world in their idea.
Okay.
3 things that you would tell them to do.
So the most important thing of all 3 is to start. Because people
Stop thinking about it.
Stop thinking about it.
Stop.
Just start.
Yeah.
Start the company, start the formation, start the website, start the logo. Just start. It's not going to be perfect. From there, it's progress over perfection. You're going to get your teeth kicked in. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have egg on your face, right? And you still have to move forward.
Learn and pivot.
That's right. Yes. And then I would say the third is you have to learn how to delegate. You will never grow your company. You will never even grow your division if you're the only one doing it. And so my team today is always like, if Amberly is on the phone with us, trying to put out some fire instead of building relationships, then it's a detriment to the company. And I have to remember that too, because I'm a salesperson. I want to be talking to every dealer every day.
Funny you say that, because I say that too. If I'm involved, something's wrong,
Right.
right?
Well, I'm not quite there yet, and so I have to let go of some of those reins. And if they can do it 80% as good as me, then that's pretty darn good.
It's very good.
Yeah, I'll take it.
And we can conquer more.
That's
I
right.
say all the time, divide and conquer,
Yeah.
right? We can't do it all.
Yeah.
We got to divide and conquer, divide and conquer.
I have an incredible partnership with Laura, and we have had some tough conversations, right? When in my first business, I was a solopreneur, right? But now it requires collaboration. And we've had tough conversations, but at the end of the day, our vision's the same. And so that's why there isn't much, there is not much bickering about anything besides getting to the next goalpost, right? And at first it was 100 dealers, right? And then it was, oh my gosh, we got 200 dealers, like, and now, it's amazing
Now
to
we're
have
at
1,000. Now we're going to 2,500. That's right.
Yeah.
Let's see how fast we can get there.
I mean, a phenomenal company.
Thank you so much.
I met a few of your people.
Yeah.
Obviously, Laura, you got an incredible team.
I have an incredible team, Arnold. I really do. Everybody says, well, we can't find another unicorn. I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
There's unicorns that, people people want to work for a company that cares about them. We are growing fast. We are one of the fastest growing companies in the country. And most of our leadership team started in a position and then they hustled. They have great common sense. They work hard. They're determined to provide that same level of care to our dealers.
So important.
And then they continue to grow.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool to see where they
Culture is
started.
important. We preach that.
Yes.
Culture is important. I tell people all the time, I'd rather hire not so hot of a salesman that fits the culture than a hot salesman that disrupts the culture.
Of course. I also, as I'm hiring salespeople, I'm like, look, I've been a salesperson my whole life. And you have an opportunity to sell something to a dealer that doesn't cost them anything. It saves them money. And we're the best at it. So go.
Go. How hard can this do? Come on.
Go.
Right.
As fast as you can.
I have it. Exactly. If you work 10, 12 hours
And anybody
a day,
on your that's
every
listening,
day.
I want them to come work for me. If they want a position in sales, I'm hiring
Go out there. Let's
all
do it.
over the country.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Dealer Merchant Services.
That's right. Dealer Merchant Services.
What's your website?
DealerMerchantServices.com.
Okay.
You can see me all over LinkedIn.
For sure. Everywhere. I'm telling you, you guys are hot, man.
Yeah, we're we're always hiring, even on the support staff side, but we're hiring sales staff all over the country. So we are endorsed by 15 state associations right now. We anticipate having another 5 to 10 over the next 12 months. And so we'll need people in every one of those states. So
It's phenomenal. All right, what was your first car?
So my first car was a 1995 green Honda Prelude. Okay. I was daddy's girl. I am grateful my dad afforded me a wonderful life, wonderful education, and I got a car on my birthday. And that's pretty sweet.
All right, what is it? What is when they make the Amberley Allen Museum?
Oh gosh.
what is the favorite, the dream car, you may have it already, that you want in that museum?
So I would say a white Ferrari convertible.
White Ferrari.
I like a white
Have we
Ferrari
ever had
convertible.
someone say a white Ferrari?
Yeah. I love
Is that your car colors?
I love a white car. It's not my car today, but my color car today, but I love a white car. I don't know. So when I look on my vision board, my images.
I know another guy, and you
Yeah.
you may know him too, Stephen Burns. I'll mention his name. He's a white guy. All the cars are white. I'm
Really?
Right. Yeah.
So I have a vision board in my photo album, right, of the things that future, and there's
Goals.
future goals, and there's a white Ferrari convertible in there. And I don't know enough about Ferraris to know exactly which one. It's just the prettiest one.
What's your favorite food?
So I love Mexican food, which is why we're here at Macero. But I also love a good steak and potato. I'm just saying.
I hear they're gonna bring us a steak here to May.
Okay.
I love Tex-Mex. My favorite food. I'm Cuban, but my favorite food is Tex-Mex.
Love it.
If I'm on a long trip, when I land, sometimes I'll meet my family or friends
Sure.
with my luggage at a Tex-Mex restaurant because I got to get my fix.
I gotta get it.
You know,
I love it.
it's crazy.
What's your favorite Tex-Mex in Houston?
Lupus is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Lupus tortilla.
Okay. Yeah, it was really good.
Fajitas and,
Yeah,
probably Papacitos would be my second.
Yeah.
But Lupus is definitely
it's good.
good.
Yeah.
Of all the places you've traveled, what's your favorite?
So I have been lucky enough to travel a pretty decent amount in my life. Paris is my favorite city. I love Paris. I haven't been in 15 years, but once my kids get a little bit bigger, I'm going to take them with me.
Yeah, Paris
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah.
Paris is fun. Of all the places you have not gone to that's on your bucket list,
Yeah.
where do you want to go?
So I would, if I could just transport myself without having to get there, I'd really love to see Tokyo. I mean, I just want to see it. I just want to see it, drop me in and then let me go home, right? That it's easy to get to.
A couple of days there.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of days, but I think getting there would be hard.
Tokyo's phenomenal.
But I haven't been. I haven't been to Tokyo. I'd love to go to Sweden.
We have an office in Tokyo.
Do you really?
So when you want to go,
Okay. That's amazing.
and Toru, our guy there, he handles the Middle East and Asia. We'll give you a phenomenal tour.
Oh, I bet that's true.
Phenomenal.
I will take you up on that.
Yeah.
I will.
I mean, you'll get it, from a Japanese guy living in Japan in Tokyo.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love to travel. I want my kids to see the world. I'm lucky enough to get to take them on some of these state conventions this summer and take them with me. And I want them to really know, I want them to see the world for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents, I was lucky enough that they sent me to Europe as a young woman in high school and in college. And so I want to see as much of the world as to be seen.
Right. And you learn.
Oh my
It
gosh.
educates you every time.
In so many ways, though, too, it helps you also understand that, when you go, especially when you're overseas, it's not like what you're used to. You have to get out of your comfort zone, and you have to know that challenges are coming your way, right? Like that's inevitable. So how you navigate that is important. And I think my parents loved to travel and took us, but even with language barriers and things like that, we just knew that you were going to come across a challenge. How are you going to handle it? Right? We can do hard things.
No, I think it teaches. I think for sure, we can all be in the bubble,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of like Petra cares, right? I was in a bubble.
Sure.
I didn't know that world.
Yeah.
And you're exposed to that world, and you're like, it educates you, unfortunately, in a bad way, right? What's happening to these kids.
Sure.
And thank God for people like you that are
Well-
phenomenal in helping these kids and donating and making sure that that their life change and generations to come change.
Well, I look forward to being able to do more. I did what I could, but I
And you guys were far above and beyond. Thank you so much.
it is our pleasure.
But we got out of that bubble, and we're helping people, right? You travel, and you get to see a different perspective,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
We're not always right,
No.
right? And sometimes you go, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that food wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Right?
No. I remember sometimes in Spain, I would tell the waiter, well, whatever you want to bring, and they would bring out, or I would eat, what paella is?
Yes.
I love paella.
Yeah, it's
And I'm used to
delicious.
this paella place. My favorite paella place in the U.S. is in Miami.
All right.
So I go to Barcelona for the first time.
I love Barcelona.
And I go to,
That might be my favorite, actually.
this is where they created paella. And
Right.
I'm on the beach, and I'm at this famous paella place, and I go, I want to have a paella. And the guy brings me a paella that's totally different
Yeah.
than the paella that I ate in the United
Right.
States, right? I mean, like, totally different. Delicious. Many people didn't like it, right? I thought it was adventurous.
Yep.
I thought it was great to eat, like the real paella, but, anyway, I thought it was wonderful. Amberly Allen,
Yes, sir.
award-winning,
Oh,
hottest company out there, saving dealerships money. Congratulations.
What a
and
pleasure.
much, much more success.
Thank you so much. What a privilege to be with you today.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for listening to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, your main source for all things good and fun, business, food, and cars. If you like this episode, make sure to rate us and subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please leave a message at the link below. Till next time, happy eating.